So as we continue with mid-season top 10s at each position, we go to two guards. I just want to say real quick, not related to two guards at all, I should have Chris Paul in the All-Star game if I haven't made that obvious with like all the Chris Paul stuff I've said recently. I just totally like botched not having him in there before. Anyway, if we move on to twos, same thing I will say with the points. Some on the bubble guys like Jimmy Butler or Andrew Wiggins, whatever, I'm just going to go off of what NBA.com considers them to be. Both of those guys are considered front court dudes, so they're not going to be here. Whether Wiggins will actually make the small forward thing at all, who knows? Anyway, the top two guards. I'm going to go from top to bottom. Number one, James Harden, of course. Dude might average 40 this year. That's pretty much it. I mean, I don't think anybody's going to dispute that. Also, the other thing with these is, of course, like Clay's out and Oladipo's out and stuff like that. So Harden's number one. Number two, I'm going to go Donovan Mitchell because he's had to carry the load without Conley. His efficiency has gotten better. He's been kind of unstoppable from mid-range this year. And I think Mitchell is getting better at just reading defenses and going into the teeth of the whole thing with a plan and not just hoisting up bad floaters or freaking out about where to pass the ball to and stuff like that. And the advanced stats finally really like Mitchell. They actually considered him a below average player before this season, which I mean I would disagree with a lot. But even they like him now, so I guess that's a pretty good sign. So I've got him at number two. I'll tell you now, the reason I don't have Bradley Beal in like number two is because his three-pointer is starting to go like really south. He's shooting like 30% from outside, and his efficiency lately has been pretty rough, and there's a reason to say why that is because of, the load he has to carry on offense, and he's probably not just able to do catch-and-shoot threes and shoot them like he used to with playing with John Wall and stuff. But even so, I think at a certain point, it's like, okay, your efficiency has fallen down so much, your team sucks. I'm not going to have you above Donovan Mitchell or Devin Booker, who I have at number three. Booker's efficiency continues to be great. A 62 true shooting. Sure, Phoenix has dipped down a little bit, but still pretty okay. They're 16 and 23. They have managed to not fall off a cliff after their 7-game losing streak. Granted, they're still hovering around 500 in their last whatever games, but I feel like that is the best case scenario for this season, which is they finish with 37, 38 wins, exciting all year, competitive all season, and all that stuff. And with Booker, I mean, he's benefiting a lot from just having better teammates. Like 50% of his two-pointers have been assisted. Last season, that was only 30%. Big reason why his shooting has been better. But also, he's still really, really competent at going off the dribble and creating offense for other dudes. I mean, his playmaking numbers have not really changed from last season, but I think that's a really good sign because last year we saw him make a big jump as a playmaker. So, I mean, look, 26, 6.5, and 4 on great efficiency. Like, that's a hell of a year. The only reason I have Mitchell above him is just because Mitchell has picked up the slack when Conley has struggled. But, feel free to have Booker over Mitchell or whatever. Then I have Bradley Beal 4. I already made the case against him. The case for him is that he's having to do a lot for a Wizards team, and even with his three-pointer struggling, his overall efficiency for the season is still pretty good, which, that's a testament to his free throw shooting and whatever else. And his playmaking has also taken a jump as well. 6.5 assists a game, 28 points a game. Like, Bradley Beal is still great. I feel like if I was going to do a top 10 two guards, ignoring the 30-some-odd games that have been played this season, I would probably still have Beal number 2, but I don't know. I feel like doing a specifically this season type of a thing. So I think now I'm at number 5? I'm going to go Zach Lavine. He's doing what he can for the Bulls. But, one thing that I was saying about Lavine was, why was I maybe not higher on him given his stat line of basically 24, 5-5 on pretty damn solid efficiency last season for the Bulls, and it was basically because I just wanted to see him do it for longer than 60 games. Well, now it's been about 100 games of him at that level, so I feel a little better about the guy now. I'm a little more confident in saying, yeah, Lavine is this guy. Now, does he still need to make improvements? Sure. Defense, might still need to work on his stuff as a leader and stuff, but Lavine is growing into a pretty solid all-around player. I mean, there isn't like a glaring weakness with him on offense. Like, does he need to get better as a passer? Sure. But given all of the stuff going on with the Bulls this year and Markkanen's struggles and the fact that Boylan just isn't a good coach and stuff, like for Lavine to not fall apart with all that going around him, I think is a pretty good sign for his ceiling as a player. Now, I will say after that, and maybe Lavine actually gets included in this, I don't really know if there's a huge gap between any of the names I'm about to name, so I kind of just want to do it gauntlet style. It would be Lou Williams, Buddy Hield, Jaylen Brown, Drew Holiday, DeMar DeRozan. As far as dudes who I could put in the list and not think too hard about it, probably CJ or Shea. There's cases for and against both of those guys, depending on who you want to put them up against in the bottom little thing here. Like DeRozan versus Shea. It's like Shea's a better defender, DeRozan's more efficient. Shea's team is a little better, but DeRozan's like playmaking is better than Shea's. Like, I don't know. It's whatever. Take your pick, I guess. Other random things, like Basketball Reference tells me D'Angelo Russell is a 2-guard. I don't agree with that. I think he's a point. I feel like all 5 of those dudes have been good, very good, occasionally great, not elite or anything. And, I mean, I don't know. Like, is there some drastic difference between Lou Williams and Jaylen Brown this season? I mean, defensively, Jaylen's been better, certainly. But when I take into account that Lou is whatever he is in the pecking order of the Clippers offense and plays 30 minutes a game, I mean, I think something to point out, and I don't know why I'm sticking to this Jaylen Lou Will comparison, but I'm already here, so why not, is like Lou's 2-point field goals this season, 18% of them have been assisted, whereas with Jaylen it's 47%, and the threes are also way less assisted for Lou as well. And you know, when I look at that and then I look at how much better Jaylen is defensively than Lou, I'm just like, I don't know, dude. Like, just put them all there, and that's just kind of how I want to do it. Also, you could argue Jaylen is actually the small forward for the Celtics, but I have no idea what position everyone is on that team except for the point guards and centers. In the case of DeRozan, I don't know, he keeps on being DeMar DeRozan. It's not exactly an exciting selection, but you know, he's not shooting too many more threes, but like Aldridge and the Spurs in general are shooting more threes, so that's kind of interesting. Drew, the case against him is that the Pelicans have been bad, but he's still pretty damn good. I mean, even if his efficiency has not been amazing this season, and the advanced stats don't actually like him much at all, I think Drew is still pretty alright. And in the case of Buddy Hield, you know, Buddy had a rough 5 or 6 game stretch that he has climbed out of since, and while the Kings maybe don't look as great now as they did when they were fighting back to 500, that all still did happen, and I think Buddy should be credited for that nonetheless. I mean, they are 9 games under 500 now, so there is a chance that the excitement of their season's dwindling.